Everybody being here this morning. At this time, I'd like to call our meeting to order. Clerk Barger, if you will, call the roll.
Master Combs. Here. Master Barger. Here. Master Tudor.
Here.
Master Botkin.
Present.
Judge Taylor.
Here. At this time, I'd like to invite Brother Joe Wood from Vineyard Church up to lead us in a word of prayer. Joe, appreciate you being here, buddy. Great to see you.
It's good to be back with you again. I was sitting over there thinking while you guys were all setting up here, some of you I know, some of you I don't, but your job is a lot like mine. A lot of times you don't hear anything until something's going crash or somebody's really mad. So when I walked in here and somebody said, "Are you here to listen or are you here because you're ticked off?" It's like, well, okay, all right. But I want to assure you, as much as you probably don't hear it, that Madison County is a better place because you serve this county. And I want to encourage you to keep that in your forefront, to serve the people of this county. I want to thank you for it. Let's just come before the Lord in prayer. Father, as we bow our heads before you right now, we know what it means to be in leadership. We know what it means to have a group of people behind us. And Lord, for some reason, I see Moses and all those people grumbling. And I just ask and pray that you give this board wisdom. I just ask and pray that you endow them with a passion to serve this county and not just hold a position in it, to do what's best, even if it's hard, even if it's difficult, but to know that the right thing is the right thing to do, regardless of how it feels or how it's received. I just ask and pray that you give them wisdom as they make these decisions today, as they process through things, and I pray that you keep them safe. In a world that seems to be spinning out of control, God, I just ask and pray that you set your host round about them as they lead this county. Ask and pray that your blessing be upon these proceedings today, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Sheriff, if you will, lead us in the pledge.
Please rise, face the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated.
Thank you, Sheriff. Guys, we have several minutes that we need to approve. I'm going to start today with the approval of the special call meeting minutes from back in May. It was May the 22nd, 2019, and that was our special call meeting where we went over our budget. There is one change that I saw when I was looking over them, that it says Glenna Taylor. And I'm sure as much as Glenna would love to be a Taylor, she really likes the last name Baker. So I would say to make that change there. Instead of Glenna Taylor, be Glenna Baker. And it's about the third, fourth paragraph down.
Judge, there's an item listed down there I don't recall discussing in the budget meeting. It says dead animal removal fees collected by the veterinary offices and stockyards are set at $2,000.
Where's that at? Can you tell me what page it's on?
It's on the first page.
It's on the second page.
Second page. I'm on computer, or iPad.
Okay.
About 2/3 of the way down. Dead animal removal fee.
Fourth paragraph from the bottom.
Dead animal removal fees.
The charge, and then the customers are charged $50 when loads are picked up.
Okay.
I don't remember discussing that.
Okay.
Do you, Larry?
I don't remember.
Can we?
I mean, I know that, I mean, we have discussed charging some
have,
kind
but
of
we
something.
didn't agree to anything in
No.
the budget meeting.
Mm-mm.
Can we just
No, in our
say-
budget meeting, which that's not necessarily saying that we agreed to it.
Well, that is what we already charged, the stockyard and the veterinary, they already pay $50
Okay.
for pickups. And they're the only ones that pay.
Where's the $2,000?
2,000 is just how much we budget to come in from those $50
Oh,
fees
okay.
in a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's, the local farmers, there's no charge right now?
No,
Okay.
No, we didn't vote on, we didn't vote on anything, so it wouldn't.
no,
even
I
if-
think I was just.
I
maybe there was
think
a
we probably
question.
talked about it.
Yeah, maybe there was a question about it, and maybe I answered it telling that that's where that come from.
Okay.
Those fees came from.
I wasn't clear on that, Glenn. I appreciate you clearing that
At
up.
the
Judge.
stockyard
revenue line item.
and the veterinary offices, they call us when they need something picked up, but they do, because they are commercial, they pay a $50 fee.
All right, good. Thank you.
Anything else?
I don't see.
Okay, so at this time, I need a motion and a second to make the one change to these minutes of the May the 22nd special meeting. I need a motion and a second.
Motion to approve the minutes for the special call meeting on 5/22/19.
Second.
All right, have a motion second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is the approval of the fiscal court meeting that was on May the 28th. I need a motion and second to approve, please.
So moved.
Second.
No more discussion? Call the roll.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger? Yes. Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is our recent meeting that we had on June the 11th. I need a motion and second to approve the minutes for June the 11th.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Master Barger? Yes. Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is treasury report. Glenna, good morning.
Good morning. In your packet, you'll see the treasurer's report. As of May 31st, 2019, we had $8,477,313.51 in our total budget. Our general fund revenues as of May 31st was at 104%. Our expenditures are at 72.2%. Our road fund revenues are at 90.3%. Our expenditures are at 86.3%. Our jail fund revenues are at 92.4%, and our expenditures are at 84.7%. Our LGA fund, our revenues are at 139%, and our expenditures are at 16.6%. Our CSEP fund, our revenues are at 8.1%, our expenditures are at 9.1%, and the difference in that is because we're on a reimbursement process, so we have to spend it and then get reimbursed for it. 911, our revenues are at 83.5%, our expenditures are at 70%. And our health account fund, our revenues are at 86%, and our expenditures are at 56.8%.
That's good.
Does anybody have any questions about the report? At this time, I would like to ask for approval to pay all claims that need to be paid by June 30th. We won't have another meeting before June 30th, so anything that needs to be paid out of this budget, approval to pay that, and then we'll present anything that we pay in the first quarter in July, so you can get a listing of those. I just need a motion.
Yep. And we do that every year.
Yes, we do that every year.
Yep.
I'll make the motion to give Glenna the authority to go ahead and pay the unpaid bills between now and July 1st.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger? Yes. Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thanks, Glenna. Appreciate it. Guys, first I would like to ask the court's permission to amend the agenda. As you see on the agendas that we've got there at the top, we're going to be adding a resolution 1913. This is a designation of an applicant agent for the FEMA funding that we have been approved for some of the storm damage that we had a couple months ago, maybe 3 months ago. When was it? It was a flood, wasn't it? Flooding?
February the 6th and
February the
continuing
6th.
through March the 10th.
And then also an MOA, Memorandum of Agreement with the Commonwealth of Kentucky on that same FEMA grant contract. So if y'all approve the amending the agenda, you see those on items 14 and 15. We'll get to those in a minute. But if you approve in amending the agenda, I need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger? Yes. Master Tudor? Yes. Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is executive session. I need a motion and a second to go into executive session regarding purchase of property.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger? Yes. Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. We'll go to Kenny's office there. All right, Kenny, Larry made a motion to come out of executive session. I think Tom seconded it. Did John second it? John seconded it. To come out of executive session.
All right.
At this time,
Master Barger?
call the roll, please.
Master Barger? Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
That's your turn.
All right. At this time, do I have a motion to allow me to complete or to negotiate the purchase and for the county to purchase 116 West Main Street, Richmond, Kentucky, not to exceed $750,000.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
And that's
we-
gonna open up a lot of projects for us.
Do we have any discussion, Larry?
No.
All right, seeing none, call the roll, please.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Buckin,
Yes.
Master Combs,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes.
I just want to thank the judge for his work on this and negotiating with them. And I know you put in a lot of time with it.
Yep.
It's well worth it.
Thank you, buddy. I'm excited about the future for 100%. It'll be great. Next on the agenda is the second reading of ordinance 1905. This is our 2019-2020 budget. Glenna?
As you'll see, the budget has not changed at all since the first reading. So we did put Alicia put another copy of it into the Dropbox, but there were no changes. And it was signed off on by Department of Local Government.
Yep.
So it is ready for second reading. It was signed off on June the 10th.
10th, yep.
It's my birthday.
Happy birthday. Belated. Guys, do y'all have any questions about the budget at all? I think it streamlines this a lot easier when we have our workshop, because it
Yes.
allows everybody to comment and really know line item by line item what's going on. So kudos to you, Glenna. Another job well done on the budget.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion, we adopt the 2019-2020 budget as is.
All right. Ordinance 1905. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
We could, on down the road somewhere, we could delete line item on that thing.
Yeah, you can just, this is just a budget and a guideline. You cannot use that line item. You can create another line item. You just have to move money into it from
Okay.
another line item.
Only question. Thank you.
And basically, we're approving, every meeting when we pay the claims and approve the transfers, we're basically approving bits and
Yeah.
pieces all
Just
through the year.
because
of
we
these
put
line
it in the
items.
budget doesn't mean we have
Doesn't
to
mean-
spend it.
right.
We don't have to use it.
No more discussion? Call the roll, please.
Master Buckin,
Yes.
Master Combs,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Thanks, Glenna. Appreciate it. Next, the second reading of ordinance 1906. We'll approve these, each individual, but Rachel will be up here for 1906, 1907, and 1908. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, so for the administrative code, we had two changes, and those are, on page 15, we eliminated the administrative personnel attire for the detention center only, since they follow our administrative personnel attire. So I did that, and then on page 64, in regards to Magistrate Botkin's question, so Brooke ended up looking into it, and it is within 90 days. So if they do not register for their health savings account by 90 days, then we are allowed to have the employee forfeit the employer portion for that month. So I just changed the language in there a little bit for that.
Guys, do y'all have any questions about our administrative code? This is our
I've got a question. I
2019,
don't know if it
2020.
would fit this or not, but say for instance, you want to add dental insurance, eye insurance, or whatever in the middle of a year, is that a call that we make, you can't, or the company that we have it with?
So since that's a pre-tax deduction, I believe
It
it's
has
just
to do with
us.
it being pre-tax, because
Yep.
it's pre-tax, you cannot make changes unless you have a qualifying event. And that's the law across the board for any company.
So that would be coming from the company, not us.
It's
Or it
actually-
could be federal
it's
guidelines,
actually
I
IRS
guess.
guidelines,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
it's
Federal guidelines.
pre-taxed. It's not
Okay.
really the company. Anything that's pre-taxed cannot be changed in the middle of a year without a qualifying event.
How does that relate to a new hiree?
But
That's considered a
qualifying
qualifying
because they're a
event.
new
Okay.
hire.
Yep.
There's a lot of things that can qualify them as a qualifying event. If they are on their spouse's
They get
coverage and they
married,
lose coverage,
divorced.
that's a qualifying event that they can pick it up.
Okay. Just a question.
No problem.
Any other questions about the second reading ordinance 1906, 2019, 2020 admin code? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. No further discussion. Call the roll, please.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is ordinance 1907, and this is the alcohol-free workplace.
Yes, and so there were no changes from the first reading to the second reading.
Make a motion that we accept ordinance 1907 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. No more discussion. Call the roll.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is second reading of ordinance 1908, 2019-2020 Code of Ethics.
And again, there were no changes from the first reading to the second reading.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I have a motion to approve ordinance 1908 in the second reading for the 2019-2020 Code of Ethics. Do I have a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, thank you, Rachel. There was no public comment for any of those second readings, correct? Seeing none, I'm supposed to ask if there's public comment for second readings, and I forgot, so. Seeing none, I'm good. Right, Taylor?
You're good?
Good. Next is first reading of ordinance 1909. This is the animal control ordinance. Guys, this might not have been in your Dropbox, but it is first reading. Obviously, an ordinance that has a first reading in order to allow you time to look at it between the first and the second reading. This ordinance is relating to the control and regulation of the animal population in Madison County, repealing ordinance 1602. And it spells this out. Colleen is working on this, obviously with sort of overseeing the duties at the animal shelter. She's been working with Jenny and Brooke on updating this to make sure that it falls in line with a lot of the state laws that are already there, which is by KRS what we're legally supposed to do. So I need you all to approve the first reading of ordinance 1909, animal control ordinances, and then you all have time to review it and look at it before our next court meeting when we have the second reading.
Make a motion we approve ordinance 1909 animal control ordinance.
First reading.
First reading.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is resolution 1912. This is our ASAP grant. It's whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court, at the request of the Madison County Agency for Substance Abuse Policy, assists in providing resources to enhance the health and well-being of the general public. And whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court will act as the applicant agent for the Madison County Agency for Substance Abuse Policy, also known as ASAP, to make an application to the Kentucky Justice and Public Safety Cabinet, Office of Drug Control Policy, for assistance to affect alcohol and substance abuse issues in Madison County and to increase drug prevention and awareness activities funded by the program. And whereas the Madison County ASAP funding request is limited to $21,000 for the 2019 Agency for Substance Abuse Policy funding year. Now therefore be it resolved that the Madison County Fiscal Court assists the Madison County Agency for Substance Abuse Policy, acting as the fiscal agent for the purpose of providing services necessary for the program fiscal operation of the agency. And be it further resolved that in the event a grant is awarded, the Madison County Fiscal Court understands that it will sign assurances to comply with all applicable federal and state laws, rules, and regulations, especially Title VI of the Civil Rights Act and Section 504 of the 1973 Rehabilitation Act. So if y'all approving Resolution 1912 and us being the fiscal agent for the ASAP board and this ASAP grant, I need a motion and a second, please.
Motion to approve resolution 1912, the ASAP grant.
Thanks, Tom. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roger, thank you. No discussion. Call the roll, please.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thanks, guys. Next is where we amended the agenda. It's Resolution 1913. It's designation of applicant agent over FEMA. Let's see what this is asking. Let's see, be it resolved by Fiscal Court of Madison County, Kentucky, that Glenna Baker, Madison County Treasurer, is hereby authorized to execute for and in behalf of Madison County Fiscal Court, a public entity established under the laws of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, this application, and to file it in the appropriate state office for the purpose of obtaining certain federal financial assistance under the Disaster Relief Act, or otherwise available from the President's Disaster Relief Fund. Excuse me. That the Madison County Fiscal Court, a public entity established under the laws of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, hereby authorizes its agent to provide to the state and to the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, for all matters pertaining to such federal disaster assistance, the issuance or the assurance and agreements printed on the reverse side hereof.
Which is the contract.
Which is next.
Yes.
Yep. So do you all approve in Resolution 1913, which is basically allowing Glenna to be our authorized person
Applicant agent.
that deals with FEMA on this disaster relief funding?
So moved.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. No discussion, call the roll, please.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. And next is the contract, which I'm assuming that it'll, does it allow you to sign, Glenna, or is it?
No, you would actually sign, they're
Sign,
gonna
okay.
approve for you to sign the contract.
Okay. Do you have anything you'd like to add to this, Glenna? Give
We've
us an
been working
update
on this, Jennifer and Dustin, myself, Scott Shepherd and Matt and Willie. We've been working with them. We're meeting with FEMA every Monday morning. This is the best FEMA representative we've had so far. We've been meeting with them every Monday morning until the project's completed. And this FEMA disaster is DR 4428, and it is for the time period, like I said, of February 6, 2019 through March 10th, 2019. We have several projects that were 100% complete that we're going to be working on getting reimbursed for, and then we've got like 3 or 4 projects that we need to work on that we have not completed the work.
One thing I want to make sure you are aware of on the contract, you know, it says $60 million, but $60 million is really for the whole state, it's the whole
Yes.
Commonwealth of Kentucky. So, you know, our portion of that is whatever we qualify for.
Which
and
we have not got the projects together yet.
And whatever they approve prior to us doing any of the work. We're not going to make that mistake.
Glenn, is it too late to list any project now?
You can get with Scott and Willie if it's any road projects. We may already have it on there. But it would have to be directly from that flooding.
From that event, right.
So
All right.
we just need a motion that Judge Taylor can sign this contract with Commonwealth of Kentucky.
So moved. Second
So I have a motion and a second. No more discussion, call the roll, please.
Master Tudor?
that. Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thanks, guys. Next is a lease agreement for the new golf cart fleet. Gary?
Morning.
Hi, buddy.
Concerning this, I have some good news and some bad news.
You always do that.
I know. The bad news is that Judge Taylor is going to have to sign his name 7 times on this agreement. Now, the reason for that, EasyGo switched from PNC Bank over to Wells Fargo. And by doing that, I'm happy to say that the figures I presented last time have improved. Last time I said we were going to save approximately $660 a payment. That's now up to $936 cheaper than we're paying right now. So by switching banks, evidently they got a better interest rate. Everything stays the same, the number of payments, what months we pay them in, just that it went down. So we should be, over the life of the lease, it's about $38,000 cheaper than we're paying right now. So that's good news, bad news. Now, do you want,
And that lease is over, how many years?
3 years, isn't
no, it's a 6-year lease, 33 payments. And typically what happens with the golf carts will be in the 4th or 5th year, and they'll come in and ask to redo.
So it's 72 months?
It actually comes out to 66 months.
66 months, okay, yeah. That's 5.5, yeah. And then we pay
Six
basically
times a
six
year.
times a year, yeah.
May through October.
Right. Mhm. Yeah. Okay.
Okay? And it paper clipped every place that you have to
And
sign.
we actually approved this
Yes,
in
we
a
did.
previous meeting, and so now we just need to sign the
This is
paperwork.
just
So
the
this is
lease.
This is basically you all giving me the authority to sign.
Right.
And final everything. Yeah.
And then once it's signed, I'll take it, and then Wells Fargo will sign it, and I'll bring the executed
Back.
copies
Okay.
back.
All right. Guys, if y'all approve me in signing the lease agreement for all of our new golf cart fleet, I need a motion and a second.
it? So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
So, being that this is, that we've already approved this once, was this the exact contract we looked at the first time around?
Except for the price being
Is
reduced,
this a
yes.
standard golf cart in that industry? Is this a sort of a standard contract because and the reason I'm asking this is because the return clause in this thing is unbelievable, and the condition that you've got to return them golf carts to, I mean, it's got to be rolled off in showroom condition practically.
That is standard, and we do keep them that way.
Yeah, all right. 6 years is a long time to turn one back to them in
Well, as I
pristine
said,
shape. I can
they
tell you that
will
right now.
come back to us in about 4 or 5 years to do a new deal, and so far, this is probably the 3rd or 4th lease I've been involved with. The condition of the carts has never been an issue.
That's
We
what-
stay on
and
That's
top.
most-
what, that's what I want to know right there.
Yeah, we stay
And
on
I
top.
think one
We never
thing
had
too.
to pay extra.
I think one thing too, Tom, to maybe give you a little more confidence is that part of this lease is they're taking
The old ones.
the old carts.
Mhm.
So when they go and you make that deal, you're take as is, you know, too. So,
Yeah.
I just know, just from looking at that
Mhm.
section of it, which it's hard to read anyway, because
Yeah.
it's in minuscule print, but if you can blow it up, you've got
I
enough
think
time
Kenny's
to
got a magnifying
fan
glass.
through it. It's pretty detailed in what
Yes.
they're
Mhm.
asking for.
I think it's a good testament to the kind of supervision Gary does out there at the golf course, that we're able to return those golf carts, and there's no rejections on the damage or the conditions they're in, and that's just a good testament that Gary's overseeing it, make sure everything's not torn up and.
Right, and on the occasions where we do have
There's an
something
accident,
go wrong,
sure, yeah.
we take care of it right away. Yeah,
Well, I appreciate it.
Good. Thank you.
thank you.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Buckin?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is our MOA, Madison County Health Department, and Salt Safety City. Guys, this is really it's more of a formality. Every year we sign a new agreement to update where they take care of scheduling and coordinating. There's our responsibilities, they're their responsibilities. Nothing has been changed since previous years. So at this time, I just need your all's approval in signing this MOA with the Madison County Health Department on the roles and responsibilities of our Safety City property.
So moved.
Second.
Judge, I'd like to see them come in every now and then and give us a report.
Okay, I can add that.
Don't you think that would be
Yep.
fair?
I think we typically do that about once a year, so.
Okay.
And this seems like this contract agreement is always that reminder that we
Okay.
need to have them come, so.
All right.
We will get them here to give us, Lloyd, Chief.
Lloyd's yours.
Yeah, you still work with Lloyd a lot out there, so if you don't mind, will you just sort of schedule that maybe for maybe the court's in July? To get him there to give us an update on the numbers of Safety City and how often it's being used. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Call the roll. Is that good? Everybody good? Call the roll, please.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barker?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Buckin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thanks, guys. Next is our MOAs on our IT services. Chris, how are you, buddy?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
We're here this morning seeking approval from the court for the judge to sign the MOAs for IT service that the county provides to various agencies. Those agencies are the county attorney, the county PVA, Kirksville Water Association, Madison County Sheriff's Office, Madison County Clerk's Office, the Madison County Detention Center, Madison County Utility District, Southern Madison Utility Districts, and Madison County 911. And there's also a management control agreement for 911 that's required by CJIS regulations for the judge to sign as well, that says we're the authorized administrators of their system.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion that gives you authority to sign the MOA for the IT departments,
Counselor, is it okay to do them all at one?
rather than each.
All right, thank you.
Entity.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to allow me to sign as presented by Chris Israel, our IT Director. No further discussion. Call the roll.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Bodkin.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Next is County
it's me.
Clerk. This is her
I wasn't ready.
general term order.
We normally do this when we do the budget. DLG didn't send us a copy of it this year, so we didn't fill it out when we had our audit. 2 weeks ago, they noticed we didn't have a general term order filled out. What I noticed on the general term orders, in 17, we had revenues of 1.7 million, 1.718 million. In 18, it was 1.740 million, and in 19, we're expected 2,014,000 in revenues. So they continue to go up.
That's a big jump, though.
That's our anticipated revenues, yeah. But this is the document that I complain about every time we fill it out, because surplus or excess fees must be zero. So we have to make this document out that we're gonna spend everything we bring in. And you know we don't do that.
Right.
So it's somewhat, it's a formality, has to be done. I mentioned the audit. We had our audit done last, well, it's 3 weeks ago now. It normally takes us 3 weeks to get our audit done, which we pay for, you all pay for, to have it done by the auditor's office. Through the work of Auditor Harmon and his crew, they've started this agreed upon audits where they have a list of 25 things they check. Well, they got it done in a week this time, which has freed up their labor, saves us money. It's been a huge benefit. And we had a couple of hiccups because it was the first time we'd ever done it, but worked through those, and like I say, she was out here a third of the time, so
Yeah,
it should
that's
be
great.
about a third of the cost.
Yeah. Good. That is good.
But for this year, we're expected to, salaries and FICA and retirement, 1.5 million, regular office expenses, 417,000, and equipment, 75,000. Is what this general term audit, the general term order's for. We won't spend that.
And this is for a calendar year, 2019.
Yes, this is for our, but like I say, we should have done this
So we'll
back in
basically be
January.
doing this again in January for 2020, yeah. So we're just, okay.
Yeah, this is for calendar year 2019.
We typically do yours and the sheriff's the same time,
Mhm.
right? Yeah. Okay. Well, if y'all approve Kenny's general term order for calendar year 2019, I need a motion and a second.
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. No more discussion. Call the roll, please.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Bodkin.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Thanks, guys. Next is personnel in the fire department. Chief, we've got a couple of promotions, it looks like.
Yeah.
Got their hours in.
What it is, we've got two guys that's got their IFSAC certification. They'll be moving from a Class 2 to a Class 3.
Okay, good.
The first one we'll do is Alan Ethan Jones. He'll go from $7.61 an hour to $8.50 an hour, effective on 6/26/19. Ethan's with us today. As y'all know, been with us about 2.5 years
Yep.
now. This is a accreditation that says that you're able to do the job any fire department in the United States.
That's
It's a
good.
national certification.
Congratulations.
All right. Do I have a motion and a second to approve Alan Jones' his promotion from a firefighter 2 to a firefighter 3,
So move.
salary at $8.50, starting June 26th? Right.
Second that.
So I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Buckin?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Berger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Congratulations, Alan.
All right, the second one is Thomas Bailey. He'll be also going from a firefighter 2 to a 3. Current salary is $7.59, be going to $8.50, effective 6/26/2019. Thomas is with us also.
Thanks, Chief. If y'all approve and Chief's recommendation for Thomas Bailey, I need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. No discussion, call the roll.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Berger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Buckin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Thomas, appreciate it, congrats.
Thanks, guys.
Are y'all on shift today? Y'all ready to get back to work? I'm just teasing you. Y'all sit there and enjoy it. Thanks. Next is road discussion, overgrown trees on roadways. I think, Scott, you're gonna present today?
Yes. Good morning. I wanted to come to you all and have a basic discussion. I know that a few of the magistrates have approached me about the subdivisions, what authority we have to cut the trees. We have tried to work with the homeowners, not to the extent of sending notice, but just verbally. And we're having a bad problem with the Bradford pear trees. When they went in and designed these subdivisions, they planted the trees in between the curb and the sidewalk, which is on our right-of-way. These trees have now matured to 10, 12 years old. They are actually blocking lanes of the roads now. We're having damage to our snow trucks, our regular dump trucks to be able to get in and out of these subdivisions. And of course, the Bradford pear is known anytime there's a storm, ice event, wind event, that they break very easily. So it's costing the county a lot of resources in order to clean up the debris. So I'd like to just come to you all and ask how you would like to handle it. One option is, I think the city done the approach that they boom mowed them, which made them one-sided and caused a lot of upset constituents. We don't want to do that, unless it's your all's thought that that's how it should be handled. Secondly, we could go in and remove these trees because they are legally on our right-of-way, and we do have ordinances in place saying that we can clear our right-of-ways of any bushes, trees, overgrowth. Just kind of want to bring it to you. The judge and I talked a little bit. We thought we may contact some of the homeowners associations. I've noted a few here that are very bad and need to be addressed, which is Battlefield, Jack's Trace, the Meadows, Amster Woods, and the Woods subdivision. So I don't know if you all want us to take the approach, maybe sending their homeowners association a letter first and giving them the option of removing them or trimming them. But I think we need to be more on a permanent solution scale, because if you have someone go out and trim the tree, it may not be trimmed back to our specifications. So you're going to have inconsistency. So I would kind of like a solution from you all to how you would like to handle it, or any talks or suggestions you all may have.
Scott, I think first we need to notify the homeowners association and let them know what the restrictions are and how much authority we have to clear our right-of-ways. And then first, maybe they'll come up with some kind of suggestion, but get their input from what they feel that they can live with, whether allowing us to remove the tree, allowing us to trim the tree, or whatever. But I think we need to notify them what our authority is and how much right we have to clear the right-of-way before we go in and start trimming back.
And I agree, and to your input, the only problem we see through our discussions at the road department is this is not only limited to subdivisions with homeowners associations. We have a lot of private people that have also planted these trees, and it can be an attempt basis for us to contact them and provide them, with a letter to give us a solution. But I think here we're looking for an overall fix, if that is possible. So it may be something we want to, maybe have public discussion about, or, if we get any feedback from what our, from the letters we send out.
I know with my subdivision, it's not that bad yet, but it's getting there, but if you got a problem with the tree growing over into the road, it's also growing over on the sidewalk to where you can't walk. So just trimming that one side's not gonna help that much unless you force the homeowner to trim the rest of that tree to match what we've cut off. And how many times they're gonna do that, I don't know. If it's not done, then I say we tell them the tree will be removed if they don't want to trim it back after we've come through.
I spoke with planning and codes this morning. Bert says there is ordinance, there is regulations that those trees should have never been planted in that space. But as developers have done it, there's not been any oversight, and it has happened.
I mean, I think too, a lot of areas is the developer gets done with the subdivision, he's sold all the lots, he's turned it over to a property owners association, and then that property owners association has decided to purchase with their dues money, purchase trees, and they plant them, you know, and you're right. They're fine when they first get planted, because, you know, they're about as big around as my wrist, you know, but about 10, 12 years, they're out in the roadways.
Well, I know that one of the areas that he's referring to is Battlefield, and Scott and I have ridden over there and been through that area. And last fall, I talked with one of the homeowner association officials, and we discussed, you know, the cutting back the trees. Now, I don't know if they sent letters from their homeowner associations to the residents, because I saw a few of the trees in that area had been cut back. However, it's very minimum to the number of them that's over there. So I would at least like to alert them and let them know that, you know, they've got one opportunity to cut those trees back to where that it's cleared for the road. Because I told them then when I spoke to them that they wouldn't like what we did if we come through and one-sided them.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants that. They don't want to look at it, you know, living over there. It's better, and really it's just better to have those trees removed. Just because of what you said, when they get to that year, and that every time you have a big major storm come through, we have to come through and clean up storm damage. We did that a lot over in that area last year.
How old or how high do those trees? How high is our dump trucks? How high does things need to be removed?
Well, I mean, our dump trucks are probably somewhere around 11, 12 foot.
Okay.
But the problem with the Bradford pear is it's a bush tree from, you know, from maybe 4 foot up.
Right.
And then it bushes out and forms itself. It makes a shape.
Yeah.
So anytime you talk about straight trimming up to 12 feet, you're gonna have an odd character standing there in your subdivision.
Yeah, right.
Well, the Cleveland pear is about the same.
Same way.
Yeah.
The
It's a
first,
little more stout.
Yeah.
the first complaints, Judge, that I got from it was from school bus drivers.
Well, I was getting ready to ask. 'cause
School
the
bus drivers, right,
that's
you
just-
can't get a school bus through there without clearing it out.
Yeah.
And,
Well, they gotta drive down the middle, and then the person,
and it wasn't just school buses, you know, after I got that complaint, went over and took a look at it and just stood around and watched people drive through, dually,
Right.
big pickup truck will go through there and smack the top of it. I mean, if you've got lights on top of it, it hits them.
well, you got UPS drivers,
So,
FedEx,
we-
mail.
It needs to be cleared off.
It's got so bad that in the wintertime, we can actually only clear the center lane that's open, and we can't push the sides of the road because it will tear the mirrors off of our trucks.
But,
So the question here, I think too, is that we have to look at too is I mean, that would be a big, tremendous
cost.
undertaking for our road department to have to go and take down all these trees that should have never been planted there in the first place in all these different subdivisions. I mean, that would be a tremendous undertaking.
Each subdivision could take up to, you know, probably 3 weeks of labor to remove all these trees. And that would, you know, that would be chipping them up and discarding the mulch.
Right.
But it would be a lengthy process.
But also, a lot of the homeowners in these subdivisions has no idea that right of way exists.
Yeah, right.
They probably think they own it to the road.
Do you have any recommendations, Scott, yourself? Do you pros and cons, do you lean towards one over the other? Or?
Well, the pros, what we would really like to see done as a road department is we would like to make sure, one, we better enforce the new developments. Second, we believe the removal of the tree is the only way to clear the roadway and the sidewalk. And then at that point, if we agree on that, is to put a 15-foot setback from the sidewalk to where no one can plant a tree closer than 15 feet to the sidewalk. It's gonna do two things. That's gonna allow for growth and should never grow into the sidewalk, and it's gonna let the root system grow enough to where it won't bust our sidewalks.
Yes, because at that point, we're responsible for that sidewalk, because it's inside our right of way.
In some subdivisions, and some of them, the actual owner of the property
Is responsible.
is responsible for their section, but we're always responsible for the curb.
Yeah,
So,
right.
you know, if you get root growth by certain trees,
Yeah.
you know, you get into collapsing
Yeah.
culvert boxes,
Well,
concrete
yeah, that's
structures.
one of the things that does affect a lot is their storm boxes.
I think it would just be a good preventative to put a 15-foot setback, and then let everyone plant their own trees in their yards if they wish to.
Next question is what are you gonna do with all the trees you cut?
We'll mulch them.
Okay.
They're the size that they will, with very little trimming, we could take them out, run them through our mulcher, and then we just produce mulch,
Okay.
which goes back into the community, several different places. We have drop-off points where people reuse the material.
Okay. So do you think a good way to start out is maybe let's work on maybe drafting a letter? What do you guys think? Maybe just sending it out to some of the property owners associations, just see if we can't get some kind of conversation going with some of our constituents to make sure that we're all on the same page. I mean, I can't imagine that the property owner association wouldn't understand our concern, you know?
I think in most cases, the homeowner's not aware of the right-of-way
You're right, yes.
district.
Sure.
And they're not aware that it's their responsibility to keep the trees trimmed back, you
Yeah.
know? So I think we need to make them aware, notify them, and maybe get some options from them, but I'm like Scott, basically it's gonna come down to just taking the trees out eventually.
Would you just cut those off at the bottom, at the ground?
That's what we've discussed, yeah, because if you get into
Digging
trying to
them up,
pull them out,
yeah.
you're gonna get into the
Having to put
replacement of the
dirt.
structure,
Yeah.
possibly breaking the concrete.
Sidewalk, yeah.
You could get into thousands of dollars in repair work that, I don't think we should be responsible for, or that we should,
Right,
you
yeah,
know,
I agree.
have to pay for.
All right, so if you will then, I think everybody's in agreement, maybe work on it, we'll draft a letter. And get with me and we'll get it sent out. We'll decide where those main areas are and just see if we can't start a conversation. And then as time goes on, if we need to send it to more individuals or more groups, then we can.
Okay, sounds
Well,
great.
Why don't we, let's narrow that down a little bit, because that's a big generic, wide open, all summer long field. Why don't we narrow that down a little bit? Can we get letters out within 2 weeks, and maybe by our last court meeting, July, have this resolved? That's a month. Time we get letters out, we get 2 weeks to get feedback, which we'll get plenty of feedback, trust me on that one. Then by the end of July, have the opportunity to be done with it. Can we narrow that down? If we just send out a
Absolutely.
letter, we'll
Yeah.
never get it.
Hey, we can vote today to have the road department cut them all down. I mean, you know, we have that that
Well, I like to
authority.
give them the opportunity to take care of themselves if they will and they're willing to.
Yeah.
But if they don't want to, then we've got any option. We don't have any option. Before school starts back, the trees need to be gone one way or the other.
The only problem with that, Tom, is now
If
when
you
they
have
have a
time.
limb falling out, they're
Yeah.
calling us to come pick it up.
Right.
So there's nobody out there in these subdivisions have any place to put these trees.
Right.
So every time the wind blows and the limb breaks out, they call us and ask if we can come chip it up. So ultimately, we're gonna be doing it anyway.
It's probably expensive. They don't want either.
Yeah.
Not to mention, if they
They-
cut it down, we don't have any place to.
So
If they
you just
cut 'em-
want to expedite this time, is what you're saying is let's make sure that we get a letter out and then that we put this back on the agenda at the
Yes.
last court in July, is what you're saying?
Yes.
With any kind of response. And then whatever responses we get, if it's some, if it's none, then we can take action you're asking in the July court.
Yes.
So you got that, Scott?
I've got that, and that's what we'll do, and we'll go forward with that program if that suits the rest of the
And you put
magistrates.
it on the website too.
Okay.
Yeah, we can advertise it and try to get the message out. We could even, put a post on Facebook, use social media. Right there's a good one. It's gonna be writing about this, I'd say. Yeah, so, yeah, she's gonna be writing about this afternoon, I'd say.
You get all the calls, right?
So, yeah.
I'll forward them to you.
Is that good, guys?
Yes.
Great discussion,
Thank
Scott.
you,
Thanks.
Scott.
Next is a recycling discussion. Guys, we've had some changes in recycling. and we've reorganized that. It's actually under the road department's responsibilities now, and I've had many discussions with Larry. Larry's called me several times, having discussions about what recycling costs. If y'all, some are aware, I would assume that probably a month ago, 2 months ago, Lexington stopped taking paper, so we had to put out a we call them POA, public announcement to all of our recycled customers that you can't put paper anymore. We have no place to take it. Of course, Scott will probably tell you in his report here in a minute that he's still getting paper. Since that happened, probably the last 2 weeks, Lexington, where we take our recycling, has stopped taking recycling altogether. And the letter that we got was indefinitely, I believe, because there was something that was broke, and they needed a part fixed. And so we still have not.
They are back up and running.
They are back up and running. Okay.
We are doing.
Is that as of yesterday? Or?
This was as of the middle of last week.
Middle of last week. Okay. So I think our discussion today is with recycling. Where do we want the program to go? Just sort of give a backstory, and you can give us a report there, Scott.
Okay. First of all, I would like to, everybody says the Madison County Recycle Program. Well, this is not a set recycle program. This was a pilot program. This is something that you all agreed on several years ago that we would bring to this county. We would try it. We would see if it was profitable for the county and if it made good economic sense. It has never been switched from a pilot program. So we're not running a full-scale recycle program. We have 2,300 curbside pickups in Madison County to the 90-some thousand population. So we're a very small sector of giving county service for recycling. I have checked with the city of Berea. They are actually, that is in their franchise agreement. They don't do any recycling. That is done by POF Sanitation, and that's part of their bid to get the city of Berea is to furnish the cans and to do the curbside service. I think Richmond does their own. They have a recycling center here. Basically what I've done is a 5-year cost analysis of the recycle program, what it has cost us to operate for the past 5 years. In the beginning, in 2014, if you look on your Dropbox and notice the spreadsheet that I've done, the city of Lexington actually paid us $17,504 for our recycled materials. Even with them paying us that much, our loss in 2014 was $36,526. And again, that's only affecting 2,300 people out of our total population, or only benefiting 2,300 for the recycle program. You'll see a pattern over the next 5 years. In 2015, we lost $37,000. 2016, we lost $37,900. 2017, we're up to $39,000 loss. And for 2018-19, we're actually at a $74,000 loss. You ask, how did that happen? Well, in 2014, we were paid $17,500 for our materials. In 2018-19, we are paying Lexington $7,500 to take those materials. So the trend is that it's costing the county more money. I wanted to make the county magistrates aware of it, see how you all feel about the program, where you want the program to go in the future. If it's time to consider cutting our losses, can that money be spent somewhere better? And can we focus more on large item pickups, maybe some dumpster cleanup sets around the county to make it easier for people? Because I think the whole general idea and the thoughts of the program with the people I've talked to, this was done to try to make our county a cleaner place. The idea was if the people recycled these materials, they wouldn't end up in the landfill, they wouldn't end up on the side of the road. So now we're at the point, it's costing us so much money, I feel like there's probably better ways we can spend our money to get a better result. So I'll just leave that to you all for discussion. If you got any questions, I'll answer.
Scott, have you, I've heard constituents talk about in areas that we don't provide this service that they still recycle. And they take their recycling actually to the Richmond Recycling Center and actually drop it off. Just because we don't have a recycle pilot program doesn't mean that you as a customer, or you as a constituent or citizen, can't still recycle, correct?
That is true.
It means that you can't, it's not curbside pickup.
Right, and we're still gonna offer
But-
recycling at the road department for your electronics.
Right.
Your mild
Batteries.
steel, appliances, batteries,
Oh.
we are still gonna recycle. This is the cost of running our curbside service to the homes.
Yeah.
That's all we're wanting to question here.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
there's two things important here. One is, we don't have the manpower. Two is, we don't have the money. And that truck is not gonna run 5 more years. You know what that cost will be.
I've got an estimate on the motor failure, and it's due for a motor failure. It's about $40,000 for replacement. If it has one DEF filter failure, you're looking at about $10,500. And if we have to replace the truck, you're talking about $150,000.
And that's not even in there. I mean, you've got 10 grand in there for the truck, but you put that on 15-year lifespan.
I did.
And so it doesn't even have, that's just 10,000 for today.
Yes.
You know, you're putting that back.
That's correct.
So,
That's the reason I asked Glenna earlier, if you don't do something, you can still take it out. And, you know, and Judge, I've discussed this with you
Yeah.
numerous times, and I think the timing's right that we get out of the recycling business, because it's not that you're just gonna say no, because there's places they can still take it. So, but I think it's time for us to get out. It's just too much money, and we don't have the manpower.
I put articles on Dropbox. I don't know if y'all had time to read them. I spent the whole weekend on recycling, and I can't find any positive articles. Everything I've run off, and I have several dozen more here, anybody that would like to look at them. But they say the problem with recycling now is our recycling in the U.S. is contaminated. The people have not understood what real recycling is. Some plastics are not recyclable. Well, if a plastic gets in a bin with a recyclable plastic, then that is all bad, because it has now been contaminated. So that's the reason Asia and China quit buying our recycles, is because they were all contaminated, and once they got there, it contaminated the whole recycle stream. So what the suggestion and the fix for this is that each household or each entity that collects recycling have a single bin for every type of recycling. That's not feasible. These bins are $150 a piece. So that means we would be setting 7 to 8 bins at each house to offer this curbside service. So at that point, maybe we look at having a drop-off point for each type of material, but I just don't think the curbside service has got a viable future.
well, I think the city of Richmond, I'm not sure if they still do it, but I know they were a single sort at the curb. I mean, they actually had a crew when they had their, and I assume they still do it.
With City of Richmond sorts. They don't take glass anymore.
Right,
take
but they
steel.
sort after, you have a box.
You have a box with.
And they
bins
put,
with-
they
with
have
dividers in
a
it.
truck that has so many bins on each side or whatever, and they'll have
But
three
you
or
still
four.
don't, but you still don't, what Scott's talking about, I don't want to get off on a tangent, but what Scott's talking about is, especially in Asia, they sort their plastics into 5 or 6 different categories.
Category, just plastics.
Because
Yeah.
that's, working with plastics for years, it is very different, the polymers that go into those, and what can and can't be done with those, and whether or not they can be ground up and reused, remelted back into something. So what he's talking about is you throw a Gaylord full of plastic together, well, it's worth nothing, because somebody's got to go through and visually, it's not like sorting steel from aluminum.
Yeah.
They've got to look at each code on those bottles or whatever they are to make sure and there's too much labor in that. Once you do that, you've lost it.
Right.
That's another reason we're not doing this here, is because we've got plenty of landfill room. That's why they're doing it in Japan, because they don't have anywhere to put their garbage. So it's strictly enforced with big teeth over there. If you don't sort things correctly, you get fined heavily.
They are stating right now in most of the large articles that I'm reading from reputable companies, it is currently cheaper for a company to produce virgin plastic than it is to recycle and use the old plastic to make a product. So that's why the loss of interest from the corporations has went down.
If you see petroleum prices go back up, this whole thing will change, because that's where plastic comes from. Where the resin comes from is gas. So if the gas and oil prices start going back up, this will all change, because the recycled material gets more value.
Well, I'm prepared to make a motion if it's feasible.
Scott, let me ask you one more question.
You have the right to make one anytime, Larry, as a master.
Go ahead.
How many loads have you hauled to the landfill?
The time we were down, that we couldn't take anything to Lexington, we had to take it to Richmond, so they sorted all of our paper out. We have actually took 5 1,700-pound bales of paper and distributed it into the dump, and we've paid waste services on that because no one would take the paper waste.
So we're picking it up at the curb, we're hauling to Richmond, they're sorting it, then we're loading it back up and taking it to the dump.
Taking it to the dump.
That's
at our
not a
expense.
recycle program, and that's no fault of anybody in the,
No, that's right.
The climate has changed and the priorities have changed.
And what do you do with the paper now that Lexington doesn't take paper, and we have our customers that still are putting paper in the bins? We're still picking it up. So what are they doing with the paper? Are they just throwing it away? Are they charging us for it, I guess?
It's going straight, we're getting charged for it as a tonnage rate, and then they're sending it to the landfill.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a sorting facility.
Yeah, right.
So yes, the people is still putting paper in.
There's a majority of the people this 2,300 is probably in my district. And I've looked at what we could charge to try to even break even, and there's no way that for the few numbers that we pick up, they're not gonna pay it. They can't do it. So, I mean, they do have a choice, but I don't think that give up the program.
Well, that'll be my motion, to give the program up and go in a different direction than what you were talking about. Maybe we can set dumpsters here, there, or whatever, and use that money for that.
And to share my ideas with you, and I've shared them with the judge and several, anybody that's wanted to listen. But we currently now have loaner trucks that we put at people's houses. We only have 2. But we're keeping up 2 vehicles when we could sell our recycle compactor truck and these 2 loaner trucks and purchase 1 roll-off truck. And then you can buy the roll-off boxes relatively cheap, have the same investment, and be able to service 10, 12 people a week instead of servicing 2 families a week.
True.
So I think it would just be more a viable method to be able to keep the trash off the county roads.
Hey, can we, just trying to think about this, I mean, you know, we do have 2,300 customers. And strategically, I mean, we need to be mindful of those 2,300. Let's just have a little bit of discussion, if we can, about, you know, if we're prepared to make that motion today of doing away with the program and everybody's in agreement, let's sort of talk about strategy. You know, do we say, you know, this program ends August the 1st? Do we got all those bins, we got all those recycled cans, I think our cans are blue, that we would have to then pick up? You know, there's a communication out to those 2,300 customers to let them know that. What are your thoughts there? Let's talk about a little bit of that.
My thoughts are, we only pick up a recycle route every other week. We are in our recycle route now. We don't know the future of Lexington. We don't know if the city of Berea would team up with us again to sort our stuff and take it to Lexington. So my initial thoughts was, if the motion was made today and vote on it successfully, is to run the recycle route to the end of the week, which is Friday. And then we would go ahead and send out letters tomorrow saying that service would be suspended indefinitely. And then they have an off week, so therefore we wouldn't be picking up this next week. And then maybe the week after that, we could send notice that we're gonna have the curbside box on the curb, and that we would go around and then pick up all of our containers.
Okay.
I think it would be the cleanest cut, because I'm not sure, I noticed on the news last night, University of Kentucky has actually outsourced theirs to Rumpke in Cincinnati. Don't think we can afford that, and if Lexington shuts down, and then we're gonna be in a bind. So I think it's better to go ahead and kinda do it, clean it up, let it be over with, if that's what you all wish to do.
Yeah, I just wondered how, you know, I'm assuming that like whenever the paper, Lexington stopped receiving paper, I'm assuming that we sent letters out to each one of these 2,300 customers, right?
I'm told that we did, yes. I wasn't involved in the
Right,
program at that
right.
time, but yes, I was.
But obviously not all customers read those letters, because they're still putting paper in there, right?
Lots of paper.
And so that was my thought about if we did do away with the program, you know, and we sent letters, how many are really reading that letter, right? And so I thought it might take a couple of recycle runs to, you know, get, and then not every customer puts their can out every other week. They might only put it out once a month instead of twice a month.
It's a possibility.
And so, you know, there just might be some challenge there if you just close it down all at one time of communicating with that customer, you know, in a sense. So,
The majority of them subdivisions,
Yes.
and most of them's gonna have homeowners associations, and that'd be, send them a letter as well as each household. They'll put it out on the internet.
yeah, I don't think, Larry, you don't have any you don't have anybody in your district. John has a few, and he is, Tom has a few, and he is, I think, and Roger. Yeah.
And that's not the excuse me, that's not the reason I want to end it, because I don't have any, but it's just, we don't have the manpower and we don't have the money. I mean, that's the two most important things.
What did you say the loaner trucks are booked to?
Don't quote me on this, Kenny, but I think I heard something like November.
That's how far out those two trucks are booked. So you add 3-4 more dumpsters, and you could really start to service more
You really
people.
start
And-
talking about cleaning up and giving back.
And that's that big stuff that nobody knows what to do with, is what ends up.
Well, a lot of people don't even know, I mean, those trucks stay so backed up, a lot of people don't even know that we even have that program,
Yeah.
right? And then you think about that, if I need something cleaned up where I need one of them trucks today, you're telling me I gotta wait for 4 months to get it?
That's right.
Well, you know, probably by then you've gone and done something else.
That's how a freezer
You put
ends
it out
up.
on the side of the road.
Yeah, that's how a freezer ends up in the holler somewhere.
And that's the reason we started the large item pickup.
Yeah.
And I don't know if everybody knows how it works, but we run a 20-foot trailer every day. And we have a one-man that runs that. And if you have a hot water heater, refrigerator, stove, you know, instead of doing something like throwing it in the creek, call us. You know, we'll be glad to, maybe a day, maybe 2 days at the most, but we will come and get that right off your curb and
Yeah.
dispose of that properly. There's no need to ever throw anything in a creek, in the woods, on the roadsides.
Right.
Tires, I mean, even tires, I mean, call us, we'll work with you. We don't need that stuff in our community.
You know, I think also, just to go along with what Larry said, we just also need to be reminded that it's part of our job to be good stewards of the taxpayer dollar.
Absolutely.
And a $74,000 loss in 2018, 2019, plus a $225,000, almost $226,000 loss over the course of 5 years, says that program is dead.
Scott, you initially said that the program was originally developed to help keep trash off the roads and so forth. The 2,300 people that are using the recycling program aren't the individuals that are throwing trash out on the side of the road.
That's
Guarantee
correct.
you they're not.
That's right.
Guarantee you they're not.
The,
But they're the ones, and I'm not
They're
singling
the
any.
concerned citizens that are caring about the,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
this program started in when, like 2000, 2004-ish, somewhere in there?
The best I can tell is the curbside started around 2012.
Oh, it didn't go back that far, 2012.
Is that right, Glenn? I think is
Oh, really?
what I
Okay.
found throughout all my research.
Okay.
But we've actually had a recycling
So we didn't have anything prior to
program.
that on recycling, like where we curbside service?
No, I don't believe so.
Not
Okay.
curbside, but we had recycling all the way back to
Yeah.
2000,
We go out and pick
2004.
up
Yes, we just didn't
big
pick it up.
items.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Back, but nothing, just
Nothing
door
till
to door.
2020, okay, I thought it went back farther than that, okay. And over the years, though, we probably haven't added that many customers, I mean, you haven't really grown it. Do you know how many customers you had when it started
I
out?
don't.
You know?
I just couldn't find access to those records.
Okay. Guys, anything else for Scott? All
I
right,
appreciate the documentation that you sent us, though, that all, you know, what the future is, not only just for our county, but the states, United States, how it affects the other countries of not being able to send their stuff to China anymore. It's just it's not going anywhere.
yeah.
Scott, would you put that information up on the website and make it available for the public? Is that possible?
Yeah, I'm sure Chris can. I'm not much of an IT person, but I will try to work with him to see if he can get those articles up and that information.
We'll just have a link that they can go read that.
Okay.
All right. Any further discussion?
No, we've got,
So-
we've got a motion. Larry's made a motion. We don't have a second, and I'm not real clear on what the motion is.
Right, and we're gonna come back, we're gonna come back to
Okay.
that, because
Do you want a time limit on that, Judge? Saying,
I think it would be smart to give, I mean, Scott and their team the authority to send out the letters to communicate that we as a court are voting today to
Terminate.
postpone, to terminate to Scott and M's discretion, you know, of communicating
I'll
that.
add that on that motion.
And it to, and maybe cap it at August 1st, is that fair?
Larry's got it.
Yeah, I don't.
You know,
think
that has to be done and has to be finished by August 1st, is that okay?
It's okay
To me,
with
you'd
me.
have you'd have to take one section to pick up the cans, you know.
Yeah, I
And then
did-
next week, pick up another section.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
gonna
think
be
you can get them all.
Well, they only do it, they do every section every other week. They don't pick up every week.
Right, right.
So next week is a dead week. They picking up this week. So I think we ought to continue through this Friday, pick everybody's up,
Right.
get the notices out today. That way they won't be collecting in the cans.
Yeah.
They can make alternate plans, and then we'll try to get out and get those bins picked up maybe the next recycle week, which you'll be skipping 1 week.
Yeah.
I think we
That's
can
fine.
communicate that quick enough.
That's fine, Lee.
And that way it don't put us in a bind what we're gonna do if something happens to the
Yep.
Lexington facility.
And I think that's a good idea, what you said about a rollback.
Yeah, the
And
roll-off boxes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that way, you know, we could service
Well, I hope
every area.
a neighborhood could bring it to that. one.
We could buy 20 boxes.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and one driver, you still only employing one person, you got one truck to keep up.
That's right. That's a good idea. And then that way that you could have one in each district or two in each district. And they'll come to you.
They will find you. Most people will find
The
you.
only problem there is you've gotta be careful where you set them, because I was here way back, 30-something years ago, and they would set fire to them.
Yeah,
That's what you had to watch.
yeah.
You have to set them in the right places.
May have to be monitored with a camera or something.
Well, they'd steal the camera too.
Not
They found ours one time in a tree, didn't
Shot it out.
they? Yeah. All right.
Fine with me.
Okay, so do we want to make a motion today? Does somebody want to make a motion today?
I'll
Well, no,
make
we
a
just-
motion and
Yep.
she's got it
We've
back
got
her
it.
head.
Yep.
So we have a motion on the floor to terminate the pilot recycle program
For
second.
curbside pickup.
for curbside pickup,
Not one of those.
and it to be effective not beyond August 1st.
That should give us.
Is that fair?
ample time.
Is that good? Okay, so I have that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any more discussion? Seeing no discussion, let's call the roll.
Master Berger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Buckin,
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
All right, next is Judge's Report. The Madison County Community Band and Madison Singers are hosting an Independence Day concert on Wednesday, July the 3rd at 7:30 p.m. That will be at the First Baptist Church on the EKU bypass. that event, I will say that event has, in the past, has been at the Ravine at Eastern Kentucky University campus. I think they've had issues with rain in the past, so I guess they moved it to the First Baptist Church. But it is a great community event, especially to be there to celebrate our freedoms and all the things that July 4th represents. Berea's Independence Day celebration will begin at 6 p.m. on Thursday, July 4th. That's at the Berea City Park. Fireworks will begin at 10 p.m. Richmond's 4th of July extravaganza will be Thursday, July 4th at Lake Reba. Gates open at 5 p.m. with the fireworks also at 10 p.m. 2019 Madison County Fair and Horse Show, will begin on Friday, July the 26th through Saturday, August the 3rd at the fairgrounds on Irvin Road. Please see the Madison County Fair and Horse Show's website for the complete schedule. And then also a reminder, the Madison County Courthouse and its related offices will be closed Thursday, July the 4th for Independence Day holiday. We will reopen on Friday, July the 5th at 8 a.m. Comments from magistrates? Tom?
We're gonna do department head first, there, Judge.
We can. Department heads? Seeing none? Magistrates? Tom?
All right, so first I just wanted to say that I've been starting to get some requests in for blacktop, and Willie and I and Scott, we've all been looking at our roads and putting those together. There was roads, if you remember our list from last year that carried over, we were very fortunate that we did get some discretionary funds at the end of the year for Peggy Flats in the 4th District, but we also had some roads that are still in horrible shape. Mentalus is in horrible shape. Congleton is another one, Idlewild subdivision. And when we started, when I started in the my first term, the first 2 years, I had a plan to go out and work on our county routes that had been just in horrible shape over the last 30 years. So we did that, and then in those last 2 years, we came back in and worked on our subdivision routes, Judge. To say that, we've still got subdivisions like the Meadows, which is very similar to a lot, not just in my district, but all of the districts where those subdivisions have now been there 25 years, and the roads in every single one of them are getting in bad shape. So we're going to try to get as many of those as we can with the dollar amount that we can. Spring Lake is another one that's just in every
One of the things, I don't want to interrupt you, Tom, but I think you bring a good point too, is in our subdivision roadways are a lot wider than some of those rural county roads too, and so it takes more blacktop, and so that mile, that money doesn't go as far.
I mean, a subdivision will just wipe out the entire budget. I mean, that's a year's going for one subdivision when we get to that point. It's
right.
And the worst ones are going to get it. That's the only way we can do it. Also had some requests for, over the last 2 or 3 weeks, for speed limit and parking signs. And, I think that a part of this, what I think, and I've talked with the road department a little bit, part of the things is that the entrance of those subdivisions, there should be a speed limit sign posted. That, that in some cities that I've been to in other states, you walk in and the first thing you see that says that throughout this city, the posted speed limit is this. Should be the same thing, that way it limits us from having to trying to put up 25 signs in a subdivision when you need one at the entrance, coming in on both sides if it's that way, or one at the center, and then, we can enforce that throughout. The parking signs and other different requests, I just want to say that whenever that someone calls and they ask for something like that, the very first thing that I try to do is get their the restrictions, and look at the restrictions and see what the restrictions were for your deeds. Some subdivisions, depending on when they were put together and built, have different restrictions in them. One part of it has one restriction, one part of it may say something totally different. So it's a different, almost case by case for each one of those, and there's a lot of research that goes into that. So we have to check with those first. What I would recommend is that the homeowners associations, first look at what their restrictions are for their subdivision, then make whatever type of request they want to make. We'll try to work with you on the speed limit and the parking signs as best that we can, but we want to make sure that those are in agreement with your HOAs and those things. The other issue I've got's offline. If anyone needs to get a hold of me, they can reach me at 200-9765, Judge. That's all I've got.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. John?
I've received several calls on the mowing on the roadside, and as everybody knows, we've had a lot of rain. It's hard to get out there. Our tractors don't have cabs on them, so we don't put our workers out there in the pouring rain to mow the roadside. So the weather's breaking up a little bit. We are trying to get caught up. We did a lot of sidearm mowing this last couple of weeks and trimming some brush back and some weeds on overgrown areas. And we are trying to get caught up with the mowing. I've worked some this week with Mr. Willis on getting some roads scheduled to be blacktop. I think he told me maybe Courage Road was going to get blacktopping today. We did a little extension down on Ford Road. It's already been blacktop, and we're going to add that a little bit farther. Looks like maybe Bend Road is going to receive some blacktopping this year, and Drowning Creek Road, and that may just about take all of our funding. So, $52,000 a mile, but that was last year, and the cost of blacktop went up about $20 a ton. So we're not going to get. It's going to cost a little more mile than that this year. I mean, so you can kind of estimate how far a ton of blacktop or a mile of blacktop goes. So just be patient. We're going to try to get to you. If you got any calls, feel free to call me, and I'll work with you to try to get whatever your situation resolved the best we can. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Roger, before we go, I want to, John makes a good point that I've been actually wanting to address for day-to-day county administrative duties. That's road department, that's finance, that's planning codes, communicating with us and constituents. In my opinion, Facebook is not a form of communication. That is not a way to talk to one another or to share concerns. And so many people in today's society want to get on there and spout off. And there's nothing more that frustrates me when we are really doing a great job. We communicate with our constituents. We talk to them. You know, we're not afraid to call back, to communicate. And so I just encourage the community. I encourage the elects in this room today, the elects that aren't here, to encourage, to educate the community, to call us, call the road department, call the fire department, call the finance department, HR, whatever department in county government, call Kenny's office, call. Don't get on Facebook with your first step of communicating, you know, about an issue. If our roads are bad, like you're talking about, we're behind, it's raining, we're short manpower, equipment breaks down. If your first resource is Facebook to communicate that your road hasn't been mowed and it's some negative comment, shame on you is what I'm going to say. Pick up the phone, call me, call your magistrate, call the road department, call whoever. Let your first response be, your first initial step be to communicate that other than Facebook. You know, I'll get off my soapbox. Thank you for listening. Raj.
Judge?
Yes.
Can I say something before Roger starts? I missed this for 2 courts, and I don't want to miss it today. One of the things that I've been meaning to say, but it just slips from my memory when we get in here, is over the last several months out at the airport, they've had requests to help them with different things. One of the things that they were asking for was to see if we could help them with a training facility. And we were able to partner with the depot out there, and they had a surplus double wide that we were able to get and send out to the airport that they're now have done some remodeling on and are using for a training facility out there.
Right.
One of the things that just happened here within the last couple of weeks, and I saw the sheriff alert, made me think about it, was that they had asked us if we could help them with another vehicle to help them with snow plowing and things like that, where they could not only help take care of themselves, you know, with relieving some of the county duty out there,
right,
cleaning off their runways and taxiways and things like that. And through the depot again and through the sheriff, we were able to provide them with a Humvee just a couple of weeks ago. And so they were very appreciative of that, and their board, you know, sent a letter, wanted to make sure that that we know that they appreciate us helping them out there, and we know the value of the airport out there. And Sheriff, I just wanted to say thank you again for that.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Tom. Roger?
Speaking of the mowing, I mentioned this to Willie yesterday. Down in Baldwin, there's a gentleman that had called me and said they hadn't mowed down there yet, and just a couple of days later, we just so happened to be down there mowing, so I ran into him, and he said, I want you to tell the guys that are doing the mowing that he's done a fine job, tickled to death, that's what he done. And like I told Willie, you don't hear that too often. You hear 10 people complain because it hadn't been mowed, and then one's gonna thank you. I mean, that's just part of the job. I mean, that's just the way it goes. But our crews do it everything they can. I talk to Willie from time to time, and last time I talked to him, I can't remember the number now of work orders that he had laying on his desk that they're behind on. It's unbelievable what comes in every day that they need to do. But they do a good job, and I appreciate all the road departments. Scott and Willie does a fine job. When you call them, it's not because they don't want to get to it, it just takes a little time to get to it sometimes, but they do the best they can with what equipment and what people we have. Blacktop wise, I kind of give Willie a dream idea of what I want. He says yes or no, you know. And sometimes I come out with a little extra, and sometimes I don't. You know, he'll say, yeah, we got enough left to do another half mile here or something, you know. And I'll put out the road name, and of course Willie will say, I've already been down that road, and I don't know if it needs it or not, you know. So, but I let Willie call most of the shot on that. He knows I've got one road this year that's gonna get blacktop if we don't get anything else, because I've been chewed out over 2 or 3 times because we blacktop half of it last year, and they wanna know why we didn't make it to the next mailbox, which was theirs, you know. And, well, I told him, I said, when your money runs out, that's just where we had to stop at, so it will be first on the list. That's all I got.
Thanks, Roger. Larry?
Well, Judge, you know what you said about Facebook. I agree with you. My computer has not been turned on in over 7 months. I don't get on it, I don't read it, because somebody's gonna make me mad. Could say something else at the moment. And I'd wanna come back at them, and I know better than that. I've been around too long to go that route. The other thing is, I wanna thank the magistrates for seeing my side of the recycling. It's for the whole entire county anyway, and we can use that money other places, and it will benefit us more, the way Scott was talking about.
Yeah.
So, other than that, Judge, I'm just glad to be here.
Glad to hear, buddy. Kenny, you have anything?
No, sir, I don't know.
Counselor?
Yes.
You good?
Yes, Judge, I do. I would like to recognize my staff for an event yesterday.
Sure. You want to get up to, if you're,
Sure.
get up to the microphone.
Yeah. Thank you, Judge. I'd like to recognize my staff for an event yesterday at the jail.
Yeah.
They found an unresponsive male inmate and started CPR on him. The attending nurse responded and used our AEDs that we just put in a couple of months ago. 3 shocks, and did revive him, got him to the hospital and ambulance. I stopped by there this morning, and he had a couple of stents installed last night, and he was up eating breakfast this morning.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Good job.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
I don't get to tell good news from the jail very often. So I did want to pass that on to you.
Yeah, that's
Good news.
great.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Sheriff.
Thanks, buddy. Sheriff, you everything? You good? All right, comments from the audience. Anybody? Taylor, you sure? You good?
Okay, one question.
All right.
Did you all, with the wording of the recycling, is it not effective until August 1st? Or done by August 1st?
It'll be done by August
Okay.
1st.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The services, yeah, make sure, I was thinking that same thing. The
Yeah.
services are gonna probably discontinue before that.
Before
So
that.
That's not the date that the services are discontinued.
Yeah.
That's when they're gonna pick, no later than that, they'll have
No
to
later.
be picked up every.
Okay,
No later than that is probably the best wordage. Yeah.
cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Probably be watching for letters in the mail. You put that in there, that way they'll be watching for communication.
Yep. All right. Next is pay the claims and approve the transfers. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. No discussion. Call the roll, please.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucket?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barter?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next meeting is July the 9th, 2019. Remember, that will be in Berea. Next meeting is July the 9th, 2019. It will be in Berea. I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Buckin?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Berger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.